Welcome back, my lovely citizens, and today we are going to be going over the top 10 plays for Arlington Regionals this weekend. Regional events happen all over the globe and happen every once in a while, normally about once or twice a month. This upcoming weekend, there is one in Arlington, which I will be attending. I'll be heading out to start driving up in that direction in about a day from now. So we are going to go over what I think the top 10 plays going into Arlington Meadow will be. Starting off at number 10, we have Wheezing. Wheezing, I feel, is in a very, very good spot in this format right now, because it has the Galarian Wheezing with the ability Neutralizing Gas. This says as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, all of your opponents have no abilities. No abilities on any of your opponent's Pokemon. So this shuts down Lugia, so Lugia can't use the Star Summoning, to put down the two Archeops onto the field, which makes them unable to accelerate onto themselves, so they have to manually attach. Then you are able to remove energy with Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, Flannery, etc. kind of thing. You have Boost Shake, so on turn 1 you can immediately evolve Coughing into Wheezing, and going second you can use Ascension to immediately evolve into Galarian Wheezing as well. Your goal is to establish as many Wheezing as possible, and then just severe poisoning gradually whittle down your opponent while your opponent is unable to do much. So it's got 4 Avery, 4 Marnie, 2 Flannery, 2 Birdkeeper, 2 Boss's Orders, 2 Sydney, 4 Yellhorn, 4 Fan of Waves, 4 Crushing Hammer, 4 Boost Shake, 4 Level Ball, 4 Pokegear, 4 Galar Mine, 4 Dark Energy, and 4 Hide Dark Energy. It's a very consistent, very streamlined build. It's a very easy pick going into the meta. I don't think it's as good as some of the other picks on this list, but I feel like if you are wanting to just go to a regional and play a cheap deck with a good meta call that's not super hard to play for the first time, this would be a very, very good choice. Then, at number 9, we have Regis. Regis, I feel, has fallen a little bit out of favor with all of the special energy hate going into this format, as well as Dunsparce and the Kyogre in Lost Box being able to snipe multiple targets, or Lugia playing Collapse Stadium. I feel like there's a lot that's kind of holding this deck back, but it is still a very, very oppressive deck that has a very, very good matchup spread. It is a little bricky at times, but it can shut down other archetypes and has a very good matchup spread across the board. This one has 3 Regigigas, 3 Regidrago, one of the non-Dragon's Horde Regidrago that swings for 240, in addition to the Dragon's Horde one that draws until you have 4 cards in hand, if it's in the active spot. Then 3 Regieleki, one of them being the discard energy snipe for 120, and one of them being the hit active for 120 and do 40 to 2 bench. I feel like that's a good split, because these Pokemon are going to be the Pokemon that you use most out of this deck. And then 2 Regirock, 2 Registeel, and 2 Regice. They are very, very good for different matchups. Regice is really good for those attackers that just want to sit with one thing in the active, and you can Blizzard Bind to make them need to retreat or use something else. Giga Impact's just good against Arceus. The Regieleki is good against Palkia. It's a very good matchup spread across the board. It's just a little bricky sometimes, and also is hurt by all the special energy hate in format, but it's very consistent here with a 4 Research, 4 Marnie, 4 Trekking Shoes, 4 Quick Ball. It has a consistent line of cards, but it does tend to brick sometimes if it prizes certain Regis. That's about the only thing here, but you do have Hisui and Heavy Ball to get off one of your Regis from prizes into your hand. You've got the 2 Ultra Ball, the 3 Ordinary Rod to consistently put them back into deck after they've been KO'd, the 4 Nets, the 1 Yellhorn, because Yellhorn is really good for some of those matchups that just try to block basics the entire game as well, the Heavy Ball, the 3 Choice Belt, 3 Path to the Peak, 4 Aurora Energy, 2 Capture Energy, 2 Twin Energy, 2 Speed Lightning Energy, and 2 Gift Energy. Gift Energy is really, really good in this deck. It's more utilized in this deck than any other deck, but when the Pokemon this is attached to is KO'd, you'll draw until you have 7 in hand. So Gift Energy is very nice for the consistency of this deck as well. Personally, I would have 2 Serena in here, probably cutting a Marnie and a Trekking Shoes for that, but that's just my opinion. Next, we have what I think is my personal favorite deck going into this meta, Arceus Beedrill. Beedrill is really good against things like Lugia. It's able to take the instant KOs with Persisting. It can shut down things like Espeon VMAX that would otherwise stop Persisting with Path. It can heal out of Paralysis with Sharon's Care and loop that with Palpad. It has a consistent engine with Inteleon, being able to loop Inteleons, grab any specific piece that you want. Marnie, Boss, Mustard, Roxanne, Research. It has basically everything it needs to succeed in this format. Really, the only thing that's a little bit tough with this deck is the Lost Box matchup, because Sableye really hurts Inteleon engines. However, against the Lost Box matchup, I feel like you play with a smaller board state, where you're going more along the lines of just your Arceuses and trying to loop them as best you can without needing to rely on the Inteleon engine. But other than that, I feel like this is a very, very good meta call going into Arlington, and I would not be surprised to see quite a few of them make Day 2. Next, we have a regional winner. This would be the Water Box deck with the 1/1 Alolan Vulpix and the Articunos for Paralysis. The Vulpix is able to block out damage from any Pokemon with abilities to itself, and it also has a built-in shred attack to that same attack as well, with a V-Star power that does 70 for each V your opponent has in play for free, which is really good as well. Then you have Ice Cube for matchups like Reggie's. Greninja can just snipe other targets, especially versus Lost Box. Inteleon helps you set damage around the board. Articuno's good for putting chip damage onto the board and paralyzing, and Emergency Jelly heals that damage off. You've got Drapion for the Mew matchup, 4 Irida, 2 Nessa, 2 Boss, 2 Raihan, 4 Level Ball, 3 Evo Incense, 3 Capacious Bucket, 3 Quick Ball, 3 Net, 1 Rare Candy to burst into a Shady Dealings Inteleon, or a Quick Shooting Inteleon, a Hisuian Heavy Ball to get any of your prized one-of attackers out of the the prizes, such as your Alolan Vulpix V in specific matchups. The 3 Emergency Jelly, as I said before, which when you are down to 30 or less HP remaining, I believe it is, it heals 120, which lets you continue to paralyze with Articuno. That's the main combo with this. Then you've got a Training Court, 6 Water Energy, and a Wash Energy to prevent getting Yveltold, especially against the Vulpixes here. It also prevents damage done to specific targets, or the target that this is on, from Sableye as well. So if you put this on Ice Cube, it is now immune to the Sableye spread, which is good. Next, we have Arceus Duraludon, which I know tends to fall in and out of the meta, but I think it's really good right now, considering the Arceus is just the consistent way of setting up. You set up your Duraludon, and Duraludon blocks any damage from Pokemon with special energy attached. And with Lugia in the format, that's the main thing you're blocking. It's able to hit for 220, consistently hitting 220 through effects, so you'll never lose to Miltank with this as well. And you're just blocking damage from Lugia, so why wouldn't it be a good meta call? It plays 4 Serena, 4 Colress, 1 Boss, 1 Research. Pretty consistent build. You've got the one of Boss in case you need to gust something other than a V, but most of the time the Serena will be used to gust, or it can be used to draw, honestly. It's just a built-in consistency option that's also a gust. 4 Quick Ball, 4 Trekking Shoes, 3 Hyper Potion, 3 Ultra Ball, 2 Pokegear, 2 Evo Incense, an Energy Retrieval, a Switch, an Escape Rope, a Big Charm, a Big Parasol for the Yveltal, 3 Crystal Cave, 6 Metal Energy, 4 Fighting Energy, and 4 Double Turbo Energy. It's a straightforward, very linear build, and it does very well in this meta. Next, we have Palkia Inteleon. This has a very consistent line of the Inteleon. We thought this fell out of favor with all of the, lightning Pokemon coming out of the woodworks to hit Lugia, and Lugia just being oppressive and presumably winning this matchup. But with the inclusion of the new Articuno from Silver Tempest that does 70 and paralyzes, we have a way to fix math and buy ourselves some turns. So Articuno has been a very good inclusion into Palkia and has brought Palkia back into the format, which makes me think that it is the 5th best deck going into this tournament. There's also a Manaphy, the Radiant Greninja, 3 Irida, 2 Boss, 1 Melanie, 1 Raihan, 1 Roxanne, 1 Marnie, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 3 Evo Incense, 3 Capacious Bucket, 2 Quick Ball, 2 Level Ball, 2 Scoop Up Net, 1 Escape Rope, an Echoing Horn, a Rare Candy, a Hisuian Heavy Ball, a Big Charm, a Choice Belt, 2 Temple of Sinnoh, very, very helpful against Lugia. It helps nerf that V-Guard energy if they have it, or if it sticks, it can make them not KO you with the powerful boost that otherwise would work, or prevent a Yveltal from actually being able to hit you if it sticks. A Path to the Peak, and 7 Water Energy. On to the 4th place one, we have Mewtwo Control. This started as basically Yveltal Control and has developed back into Mewtwo Control, but playing a heavy line of the Yveltals. This is very, very favored into Lugia. This one's playing 2 Path because it can shut down the Espeon tech that people have started to play, to make it where Cry of Destruction still hits things, and Mewtwo is just a win condition versus basically any other deck. They swing into you for not enough, and then you heal 200, and then eventually they'll deck out as you loop your supporters. You've got 4 Snorlax, good for setting up. You've got a Miltank you can sit behind. You have Radiant Gardevoir to make it even harder to KO your V-Union. And you have Pyukumuku for consistent draw. Then you've got 3 Research, 2 Peonia, 2 Sydney, 2 Silene, 1 Misfortune Sisters for a little more milling, 1 Roxanne, 1 Flannery, 1 Pokemon Center Lady, 1 Boss's Orders, 1 Team Yells Cheer, 4 Crushing Hammer, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Scoop Up Net, 2 Palpad, a Lost Vacuum, a Yellhorn, a Big Parasol, the Double Path, 3 Psychic Energy, 3 Twin Energy, a V-Guard Energy, and a Double Turbo Energy. I feel like this deck is amazing going into the format. It definitely has some bad matchups, and those are mainly things that can actually manage to set up without using, like, special energy, being able to set up Drapions in order to swing into the Mewtwo V-Union for knockout. And the Drapion doubles as a tech for Mew as well, because it's there literally as a Mew counter in most cases. It can just also help versus the Mewtwo V-Union matchup. Anyway, moving on to 3rd place, we have Mew, which, as I said before, if people start teching for the Mewtwo Control, or start teching for Mew, and that inherently techs for Mewtwo Control, Drapion could hit this deck pretty hard, but I do think that with Lost City and Meloetta, it's very good going into this format. Especially when you can swing super favorably into a lot of matchups, even going second, by going Alessa Sparkle, attach Power Tablet, swing for 240, KO, like, your opponent started a Lugia, donk. There we go, good, you got an early 2-prize lead. I think it's very, very good going into this format. With the 4-3 Mew VMAX line, the 4 Genesect, 2 Meloetta, 3 Boss, 3 Alessa, and 1 Roxanne for the late game, 4 Power Tablet, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Cramomatic, 2 Switch, 1 Echoing Horn, 1 Escape Rope, 1 Trekking Shoes, that's sort of interesting for this build, 2 Forest Sealstone, 2 Choice Belt, 2 Lost City, 1 Rose Tower, a Path to the Peak, 4 Fusion Strike Energy, and 3 Double Turbo Energy. I think this deck is very, very oppressive still, even in this format, and I think has a good chance to just run through the tournament to some degree. There's for sure going to be some degree of Mew in top 16. Now at 2nd, honestly, in my opinion, the best deck in format aside from Lugia, because Lugia has the ability to tech for any of its counters and is super, super powerful, but I feel like this deck sort of beats all of the things that are trying to counter Lugia. This plays 4 Comfey, 2 Sableye, 2 Cramorant, and then tends to play a varied array of attackers. But in this case, it's playing the Radiant Greninja build with different basic energy to be able to accelerate onto Kyogre, Zekrom, and Snorlax as tech attackers, to be able to swing for either 130 and paralyzing, 180 and put yourself to sleep, or Aqua Storm and be able to potentially snipe 2 targets for upwards of 250 damage, which in the late game, when you have like basically nothing left in your deck and you go Energy Recycler, put back 5 energy, Aqua Storm, swing for 250 on 2 targets, that is one of the biggest late game swings you can have. The biggest way to tech for this is to play a Manaphy. If you play a Manaphy, this Kyogre literally does nothing against you. And if you play enough switches or ways to negate the paralysis, then you can tech for the Zekrom as well. It's able to be teched for, but it's hard to tech for both this and also beat Lugia, but there are definitely some ways to do it. On top of that, there's also the Oranguru, the Manaphy, 4 Colress Experiment, 1 Birdkeeper, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Scoop Up Net, 4 Mirage Gate, 3 Quick Ball, 3 Escape Rope, 2 Switch Cart, 2 Ordinary Rod, 2 Energy Recycler, 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, 2 Choice Belt. Actually, I haven't been seeing many lists play double of the Choice Belt, but that's interesting. Personally, I'd play 1 Air Balloon and 1 Choice Belt, but that's just me. 1 Pokestop, which personally I would play a Training Court, just because it allows you to facilitate this a little bit better. Plus, you could also get back an energy and then Primate Wisdom it to the top of your deck as something that would guarantee 1 for the Kyogre. Then 4 Water Energy, 4 Lightning Energy, 3 Psychic Energy, and 2 Capture Energy. And now we move on to the obvious best deck in format, Lugia. This Lugia deck was the one that performed the best in Toronto, I believe. I think this was Isaiah Bradner's list, but I could be wrong. Let me double check that real fast, actually. This was... Yep, this was Isaiah Bradner's list. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this list is very, very good, and teched for a meta that teched for Lugia. So, it plays a 4-2 Lugia line because it's a little bit of a tight list. But on top of that, it has the 4 Archeops, 1 Zard, well, 1 Radiant Charizard, I should specify, 1 Yveltal, 1 Stoutland V, very much helps against the Lost Box matchup, 1 Lumineon V, and 1 Crobat V, as well as the tech that very much helps a lot of different matchups for this deck, the 1-1 Espeon VMAX line. Because this Espeon blocks all effects of attacks to your Pokemon that have energy attached to them, which means it blocks the one-hit KO effects from opponents' Yveltal. It blocks Beedrill effects. It blocks Yveltal, the special energy discarding Yveltal. The only thing that really counters this is people playing Path in order to get around that and still swinging into you, which is also important. Then there's the Oranguru, Manaphy, and Pumpkaboo. They don't play any stadiums, so after they've bumped the first path with Pumpkaboo, the second path does end up shutting this down. It is a tight list, so they can't really afford to play all that much extra, but it's just a thing to consider for this. But I do think the Espeon is very, very good going into this format. Then there is 3 Research, 3 Marnie, 2 Serena, 2 Boss, 4 Quick Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Evo Incense, 3 Choice Belt. Maybe they could go down one for, like... Maybe they could go down one for, like, a Lost Vacuum or a Collapse Stadium. I could see that being decent. 4 Powerful Energy, 4 Aurora Energy, 2 Capture, 2 Double Turbo, 1 Heat Fire, 1 V-Guard Energy, and 1 Gift Energy. So these are the top 10 archetypes that I think are good going into this format. Obviously, I don't think that every single exact 60 is going to be the exact 60 that's going to win the event. Like, there's give or take with any of them, but I think these are the archetypes that will perform best this weekend in Arlington. And if you're still on the fence on what deck to decide, I hope this helped out with your decision. Hope you guys have a lovely rest of your night. Leave a like and subscribe if you like the video. I'm hopefully getting back into posting more videos lately. Sorry that we've missed a couple of days of posting just due to me being sick over this past weekend. But I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and good luck in Arlington to all who are going. See y'all later.